This is Unit 1, Topic 8, Understanding the ASAM Access Method. Hello, and welcome to the BMC Quick Course Series. This module will discuss the support ARC provides for sequential files. Sometimes these are referred to as either flat files or QSAM files. ASAM is an acronym for Application Sequential Access Method and consists of a set of I/O routines designed to manage flat file processing. ASAM is generally transparent to the application program. Now let's look at the basics of ASAM. The ASAM routines are an access method that has been customized to satisfy the special requirements by ARC. They are generally a complete replacement for the native flat file access method called QSAM. Generally, flat file I/O activity must be synchronized with associated database activity. ARC manages flat files seamlessly to ensure that this synchronization is maintained. Occasionally, specialized options may be required to further customize the ASAM processing. These options are supplied via the FCB control block and will be discussed later in this module. First, let's go over the ground rules to use ASAM. If you want to have a file managed by ASAM, your program must issue the XRST call before the file is opened. The XRST call is a signal by your program that the file opened should be intercepted and managed by ARC. While we're in this section, it is worth noting that your program should avoid issuing repetitive opens and closes during the execution. While it is supported, this type of processing makes it very difficult to successfully restart a program, and it should be avoided. Now, let's take a look at how ASAM processes a checkpoint. When a file is processed as an input file, ASAM does all the I/O in the same way QSAM reads the file. However, when a checkpoint is issued, the current record position is noted and recorded by ARC as part of the checkpoint. When a file is processed as an output file, ASAM must first harden the data by flushing everything out of the buffers. This buffer flush is accomplished by issuing a T-close, which will usually result in an embedded short block of data being written to the file. The short blocks are normal and do not impact file processing. After the data has been flushed, ARC then marks the current file position at the end of the last record written, before returning control back to the application program. The next slide is an example of ASAM output processing. Let's take a look at how ASAM supports checkpoint processing for an output file. The program is writing records to a file with a blocking factor of 9. However, after the 14th record has been written, the program issues a checkpoint. ASAM will flush the data from the buffer so that it will be hardened on the media. In this case, an embedded short block will be written to the file. Subsequent processing will continue and regular length blocks will be provided. Each time a checkpoint is issued, the process will be repeated. A typical ASAM file will contain multiple short blocks interspersed among standard length blocks. Next, we will discuss how ARC uses this technique to handle restart. In this example, the program takes a checkpoint after processing record 14. It then continues processing and abends after taking any further checkpoints. After the abend, an associated DBMS update activity will be automatically backed out to the most recent checkpoint, which corresponds to record 14. Because records 15 through 31 no longer reflect database activity, they will be discarded on the subsequent restart. When the program is restarted, the ASAM routines will backspace the file to the end of the block containing record 14. The position of the file will be reestablished so that records 15 through 31 will be overwritten when the application program is restarted and runs to completion. Now that we have seen how ASAM works during a restart, let's see how you implement it in a non-IMS environment. ASAM input processing is much simpler. As the program is processing an input sequential file, ASAM simply records the position in the file of the last record processed when each checkpoint is processed. In this example, the last checkpoint taken by the program was after record 14 had been processed. After a restart, the file is repositioned so that the next read issued by the program will retrieve record 15. Implementing ASAM in a non-IMS program is simple thanks to the concept called sequential intercept. As a program issues an open request, the open is intercepted and passed along to the ASAM routines. This way, the existing I/O related statements in the program will continue to work as is, but under the covers, ASAM will be providing the I/O support. The auto ASB keyword activates sequential intercept when it is specified on the program registration record for non-IMS programs. It generally means intercept all flat files. ASAM sequential intercept for IMS programs is implemented by activating a setting within the ARC processing options. This is in contrast to the non-IMS technique of specifying auto ASB on the program registration record. Generally, the option is set at the global level to avoid having to set it for each program. In the example shown here, the option Use Auto ASB with IMS is set to Y at the global level. This means that any native QSAM open requests coming from an IMS program will be intercepted and managed by the ASAM routines. The IMS GSAM routines can be replaced by ASAM by activating the Replace IMS GSAM with ASAM option, as shown in the example here. ASAM processing is generally very similar to GSAM, except the repositioning techniques employed by the ASAM are generally more forgiving than GSAM. The default processing provided by ASAM is adequate for most situations. However, for specialized processing, the defaults can be overridden by creating a FCB control block. For example, an application may have a common input parm file that each program reads to obtain the current processing date. It may be expedient to exclude this type of file from processing. A FCB could be created to tell ARC to bypass interception so that the file would be ignored by the ASAM routines. FCBs and their companion control block, ASBs, exist in a PDS called either a FCB lib or ASB lib. These are PDS datasets and are dynamically allocated by ARC. This concludes this module. For more information, please visit www.bmc.com. Thank you.